It begins before sunrise. The sky is the color of cold ash, and a thin mist clings to the earth like a secret. Somewhere in the mountains of northern India, a 12-year-old girl named Meera ties the laces of shoes that are 2 sizes too big. They were her mother's once before the floods took everything. She doesn't speak. She never does in the mornings. The silence is part of the ritual, a promise she makes to herself every day before walking 10 miles to school. By 5 a.m., the first sound breaks through the valley, the crunch of gravel under her feet. She walks fast, clutching a notebook wrapped in plastic, because the monsoon can start without warning. Every turn of the path hides something: a stray dog, a falling rock, sometimes a truck that shouldn't be on this road. But Meera knows every inch of it, every cracked stone, every shadow that means danger. She's memorized the rhythm of survival. At mile 2, she passes the ruins of a bridge. Last year, a boy from her village fell there during the rains. They never found him. Her mother wanted her to stop going to school after that, said dreams were only for people who could afford them. Meera didn't argue. The next morning, she just left earlier, before her mother woke up. The forest thickens around mile 4. The canopy above her blocks the sunrise, turning the world into a dim corridor of greens and ghosts. Sometimes, when the wind moves through the trees, it sounds like voices, the ones she lost, the ones she's afraid of losing. She grips the straps of her torn backpack tighter and keeps moving. The school bell rings in her mind long before it rings in reality. By 7 a.m., she reaches the halfway point, a small tea stall where truck drivers stop. The owner, an old man with cataract eyes, pours her a cup of sweet chai. He never asks for payment. He just says, "One day you'll pay me with your name in a newspaper." She smiles, not because she believes it, but because it's the only kind of faith she can afford. The last 3 miles are uphill. Her breath becomes visible, each exhale a cloud of determination. Her shoes tear at the sides, the road narrows, and she starts counting steps, 100 at a time. Somewhere between 98 and 99, she thinks of her father. He used to tell her stories about cities made of light, where books were free and girls didn't have to walk to school barefoot. He died in the same flood that took their home. She never saw the city of light, but every morning she walks toward it anyway. At 8:15 a.m., she sees it. The school, a crumbling yellow building on a hill. The flag on the roof flaps weakly against the wind. Other children are already there, laughing, chasing each other, their uniforms neat, their shoes clean. Meera stops at the gate, wipes the mud from her face with the sleeve of her shirt, and hides the hole in her shoe under a bush. She steps inside as if she's invisible, because being invisible is safer than being poor. But today, something changes. During the morning roll call, the principal notices her hands, blistered, bleeding, but still clutching a pencil. He asks her to stay after class. She thinks she's in trouble. Instead, he hands her a form, a scholarship application for a city boarding school. "They're looking for students who don't give up," he says quietly. She doesn't cry, but her fingers shake when she writes her name. Weeks pass. The letter arrives on a Thursday. Her mother opens it slowly, as if it might bite. The words are simple: accepted, full scholarship. That night, Meera doesn't sleep. She sits outside under the same sky she's walked beneath her whole life and listens to the silence. It feels different, lighter, almost like possibility. The next morning, she still wakes before dawn. Old habits die harder than hope. She packs her few things, 2 notebooks, a photograph, and her mother's shoes, and begins walking the same 10 miles again. But this time, she isn't walking to school. She's walking to the bus that will take her to the city of light her father once described. As the bus disappears into the fog, the valley behind her remains silent, unaware that something extraordinary just happened, that a girl with nothing but willpower and worn shoes has crossed the invisible line between survival and destiny. Years later, journalists will find her story. They'll photograph the dirt road she once walked and call it the path of dreams. They'll write headlines about resilience and hope. But what they won't capture is the sound of her footsteps in the dark, the way she counted them, one by one, through fear and hunger and loneliness, 10 miles at a time, until they led her here. Because in the end, Meera's journey was never about the distance she walked. It was about the distance between who she was and who she refused not to become.